Lucky the Shih Tzu was dancing until quite recently. Now she needs all the skills of the super vet at 8. But first up, tonight's Channel 4 News with Jon Snow and Matt Frei.
Whisper, whisper, but does she understand either of them? Mrs May makes no discernible Brexit progress at the EU summit in Brussels. Good evening. For European citizens living here in Britain, a pledge that it will be made easier for them to go on living here. But on the fundamentals of divorcing the European Union itself, the story remains the same. Today was the day Britain had hoped for progress, but there was none. And Europe made it clear there will be no further movement until Britain agrees the money she owes for her 4 decades of membership. The Prime Minister is left repeating the ideas that she set out in her Florence speech a month ago, and the clock is still ticking.
That speech that I set out in Florence set out that ambitious vision, and I look forward to us being able to progress that in the weeks ahead.
I think that Theresa May has to come up with more clarity on what she meant with other commitments in her Florence speech.
Also tonight, crime is up in England and Wales. 5 million cases in the last year, an increase of 13%, especially knife crime and sexual offences. Why? While we sleep, they work. The army of cleaners who clean up our mess before you return in the morning. Their labour is shrouded in darkness, and as we discovered in a special report tonight, their rights don't appear to be always respected. And the discovery of life on Mars begins almost a mile under the moors of North Yorkshire. We go deep to huddle with the astrobiologists. And we talked to one of the great filmmakers of Europe, Wim Wenders. German by birth, European by inclination. He made the Polaroid camera great again with thousands of snaps. And he has a confession about Harvey Weinstein.
For some reason, I did help his career. Shame on me.
Europe's leaders put on a show of friendship and support for Theresa May at the European summit in Brussels this afternoon, but underneath the bonhomie, the tough message remains the same. Cough up. They want Theresa May to spell out what other EU commitments Britain will continue to fund after Brexit. That means agreeing to pay billions for ongoing EU projects and the future pensions of European officials. And the EU leaders say without that, there's no chance of the talks moving on to the future trade deal. Our political editor, Gary Gibbon, is in Brussels. Gary, tonight's main news, Theresa May preparing to speak to EU leaders, but there are no signs of progress on Brexit negotiations. EU leaders have said she needs to give more detail on how much Britain will pay to leave. That's all we've got time for tonight. That's Channel 4 News. Good evening.
Good evening.